Once Guts realizes that using the Bailet is the correct option, he'll be able to gain enough power through sacrificing his party to be able to finally get a hit on Griffith. After finally finding the time to catch up on Berserk, I am caught up on the most recent chapter of this almost 3-decade-long series, that being chapter 371. A lot has happened over the last major arcs, but I would argue that what we're currently seeing in Berserk will mark a huge turning point in the story. So today, on this episode of Jump Report, I would like to go over some of my thoughts and feelings on the story so far, and where I think the story of Berserk will go next. So real quick, I just want to mention that there will be spoilers for Berserk throughout my discussion in this video. If you haven't read the most recent chapters and don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and catch up on the manga and come back here when you're done. Now that we have that out of the way, we can begin. Up until now, Guts and his traveling crew have been through many ups and downs and trials and tribulations, ranging from battling the Kushan Empire's most fearsome threats, or the overall journey to restore Casca's mind. Although a lot of these forces have posed a respectable threat to the party, for the most part, I would argue that for a majority of the current arc, aka the Fantasia arc, has been the most lighthearted arc we've seen thus far. I've heard some people complain about this change in tone Fantasia has, making Berserk far less dark, and I can agree that Berserk is no longer as dark as it used to be. But is that a bad thing? I really don't think Berserk could run this long sustainably, with consistently dark events happening back to back. Plus, with the newest chapters, I definitely think that the lighthearted nature of the Fantasia arc was in some ways a ploy, and we can expect things to get a little darker in the next few chapters. So rest assured, Dark Berserk, I'm sure, is coming back pretty soon. Like I said before, Guts and his party have gone through a lot to get Casca to Elfhelm, so after years and years of traveling, we finally see her restored to her original self in chapter 354. A gigantic payoff for the party and a major personal victory for Guts, to some extent. However, Guts is not the only major character that was winning in this arc. To some extent. After Griffith was resurrected, he has been on a tear, conquering the land and uniting it all under his kingdom, Falconia. Now, from an outsider's perspective, Falconia is a utopian society that unites not only the people of Midland and Kushan, but everyone in the physical realm. Technologically speaking, Falconia is also leaps and bounds past any other city that came before it, including Wyndham, the former capital of Midland. The only city that has rivaled Falconia in power up until this point is Emperor Geyseric's capital city that existed almost a millennium ago before sinking deep into the ground. The tricky thing though is that Geyseric's city is Falconia, and this leads into my first prediction for the future plotlines of Berserk. I believe that Falconia is doomed to meet a fate similar to that of Geyseric's original city. Not the craziest prediction, I know, but if there's one thing we can be sure of when it comes to Berserk's story, is that it's cyclical in nature. Consistently, it is alluded to Guts and Griffith's relationship and history being a retread of Skull Knight and Voids, which is pretty much confirmed in chapter 362. However, in the instance of Skull Knight and Void, it seems that the kingdom of Skull Knight, along with the woman he loved, was sacrificed by Void, with the denizens of Skull Knight's kingdom seen way back in chapter 50, deep within the Tower of Rebirth. Although the story of Berserk is cyclical, I believe that in some aspects the cycle will be broken or different this time around. It is very likely that if Falconia and its citizens were to be sacrificed, it would most likely be done by Griffith or someone in his camp. Griffith is no stranger to sacrificing a large group of people that looked up to him, so what's stopping him from doing it once again? As of right now, he has no reason to do so, but if he was backed into a corner or realized he could attain more power, we can't say for certain that he wouldn't repeat his crimes. Going back to chapter 362, there was a key detail shown to us when Guts sees the memories stored in the Berserker armor. Here we see Void with 4 other beings. The reason I wanted to bring this scene up was because of the question it posed to me. Were these the 4 members of the original God Hand? While it's not clearly told to us who these 4 are, I find it odd that Slan, Ubik, and Conrad are nowhere to be found in this scene. Also, where did these 4 go? They're nowhere to be found by the time of Guts' run-ins with the God Hand, and this leads into my next prediction. If these 4 are the original members of the God Hand, the reason for their disappearance will play a potential key role for defeating the current God Hand members. Now, could each of the original members have been replaced with new members after each eclipse? Possibly, but still, I would like to see what happened to these 4 demons. Some other interesting story bits that had my attention included the world spiral tree and Guts at his lowest point. Starting with the world spiral tree, we saw in chapter 357 that Sonya, Griffith, and the Moonlight Boy are able to traverse the spiral tree without issue. However, we haven't seen if individuals such as Skull Knight could traverse it, and this leads into my next prediction. If Skull Knight, Moonlight Boy, Guts, or someone in his party can navigate the world tree, there's a possibility that they can use it to get to Falconia to rescue Casca, or navigate to the Astral World and potentially find the key to beating Griffith and the God Hand. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next chapters start exploring the concept of our heroes taking a ride on the world tree. Before I go on to my last prediction, I would like to say thank you for watching the video up until this point. If you enjoyed the video up until this point, and are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoyed this video and want to see me do another video talking about Berserk, please let me know in the comments below. I really enjoyed writing for this video, and I would be more than happy to do another video on Berserk. Alright, so the last thing I would like to talk upon is Guts' emotional state. This guy has been through it all, and has arguably the most tragic backstory in all of manga/anime, and possibly in the history of all media. Time and time again, we've seen Guts charge head on when faced with adversity, fighting his way through everything no matter the situation and regardless of how much the odds are stacked against him. That being said, I would say that the kidnapping of Casca has given us the most defeated version of Guts we have ever seen. Sure, he's contemplated giving up before, but this is the lowest Guts has ever been emotionally. After what he and his friends have been through for Casca, it must feel like it was all for nothing to him right now. He's also in possession of a Bailet. Probably the last thing that you want to be carrying when you're in a depressive state like Guts is currently in. With that being said, comes my last prediction. I don't think Guts will use the Bailet to power up and stop Griffith. While it would be a cool what-if scenario to see Guts go apostle mode and become stronger, I think that directly conflicts with the message of Berserk and what Guts stands for. You see, unlike Griffith, Guts' character revolves around the concept of the human struggle. For Guts to attain the happiness he desires, he can't take shortcuts, and even though he's granted access to power-ups, like the Berserker armor, the cost to use it is very risky. Obviously, Griffith represents a foil to Guts. So while Griffith is willing to sacrifice his quote-unquote friends to get a leg up in life, I don't think that Guts will do the same. Will using the Bailet cross his mind and potentially be something that the Beast of Darkness encourages? I think so, but I don't think Guts will use it. Now, how will Guts get back to his feet and keep on struggling? I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think the Bailet is the answer. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your theories and predictions are for the future installments of Berserk, and if you want to see me do more Berserk videos like this one, please let me know. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Jump Report.